Good morning all of you. In this video we will discuss another division of Cryptogame, that is called Bryophytes or Bryophyta. The division is known as Bryophyta and the members which are belongs to Bryophyta are called Bryophytes. So what are Bryophytes? They are non-vascular. They are non-vascular terrestrial plants. Non-vascular terrestrial plants of moist habitat in which multicellular diploid sporophyte lives as parasite on multicellular haploid free living gametophyte. So this statement exactly belongs to bryophytes. So what are bryophytes? Non-vascular. So what are non-vascular? Non-vascular plants means if xylem and phloem they are absent. If they are absent, then plants are called non-vascular plants, because xylem and phloem, these two tissues are known as vascular tissues. So in bryophytes, vascular tissues are absent. That's why they are called non-vascular. And terrestrial means plants of land condition. Plants of land condition is known as terrestrial. Till algae, they are aquatic. Either it is freshwater or marine, but they are mainly aquatic. But bryophytes are first terrestrial plants. Then usually they have moist habitat. Generally they grow in moist habitats like shady conditions, then banks of rivers. Then they also grow in shady areas and moist conditions. Here in bryophytes, in the life cycle of bryophytes, there are two stages. One stage is known as gametophyte and another stage is known as sporophyte. So gametophyte means gametes producing plant body. Gametes producing plant body is known as gametophyte. And sporophyte means spore producing plant body. Spore producing plant body is known as sporophyte. In any plants from algae to angiosperms, in the life cycle of plants there are two stages, gametophyte and sporophyte. So gametophyte is usually haploid. Haploid means it contains only one set of chromosomes, and sporophyte is diploid. It contains two sets of chromosomes. And in the life cycle of bryophytes, gametophyte is dominant where sporophyte is dependent. That's why here I written as it is a multicellular diploid sporophyte. Multicellular, made up of many cells, diploid, two sets of chromosomes, sporophyte. It lives as parasite on haploid free living gametophyte. Free living means that is the dominant phase in the life cycle. So in bryophytes, exceptionally in remaining plants, sporophyte is dominant where gametophyte is dependent or independent. But exceptionally in only bryophytes, the gametophytic stage is dominant while sporophyte born on gametophyte. That's why, so this statement is exactly belongs to bryophytes. They are non-vascular terrestrial plants of moist habitat in which multicellular diploid sporophyte lives as parasite on haploid free living gametophyte. Let us discuss some important characteristics of bryophytes. Some important characteristics of bryophytes. Generally, they are found in moist conditions. Bryophytes, they are found in moist conditions like shady regions, humid regions, and the plants are very small. The bryophytes are very small. They seldom attain. They do not attain great heights because vascular tissues are absent, but they require water. If vascular tissues, particularly xylem, absent, water conduction is absent. That's why they are close to the substratum for absorption of moist and water conditions. That's why bryophytes are small and they seldom attain great heights. The bryophytes are also called the amphibians of plant kingdom. Because the amphibians of plant kingdom, because they usually survive in the soil. They live in soil, but they depends on water for sexual reproduction. So for fertilization process or sexual reproduction, bryophytes require water. That means they can live in both soil and water conditions. If any organisms can survive in even both soil, terrestrial and aquatic conditions, then they are called amphibians. In plant kingdom, bryophytes are also known as the amphibians of plant kingdom because they are survive in soil, but they dependent on water for sexual reproduction. Here in bryophytes, the plant body is more differentiated than that of algae. The plant body of bryophytes is certainly better than algae, but in bryophytes also the plant body it lack of true roots, true stems and true leaves. True stem, true leaves, true roots are absent in bryophytes, but in the plant body of bryophytes they contain root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structures. Root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structures. So that's why the body of bryophytes is more differentiated than that of algae. And the plant body of bryophytes usually they are closely pressed to the substratum with the help of root-like structures, and these root-like structures are known as rhizoids. Rhizoids. The body of bryophytes they seldom attain great heights. That means they are closely pressed. They are closely pressed to the substratum with the help of root-like structures. These root-like structures are known as rhizoids. Rhizoids they may be unicellular or multicellular. So entire rhizoid is made up of only one cell or it is made up of more than one cell. So rhizoids may be unicellular or multicellular. Here already I told you vascular tissues are absent. Both xylem and phloem both are also known as vascular tissues. So vascular tissues are absent, that's why they are known as non-vascular plants. And in the plant body, the main dominant phase of bryophytes or the main plant body is gametophyte. Gametophyte means gametes producing, gameto means gametes, phyton means plants. Gametes producing plant body is known as gametophyte. While sporophytes born on gametophyte. So gametes producing plant body is known as gametophyte, or it means the main visible body of bryophytes. The visible part of bryophytes is known as gametophyte. The dominant phase is gametophyte, while sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. Then this gametophytic plant body, it means in bryophytes sexual reproduction, vegetative propagation and sexual reproduction present. And sexual reproduction, especially the gametophyte produce or it contains sex organs, both male and female sex organs. And these sex organs are multicellular and jochated. Multicellular means they are both male and female sex organs are made up of more than one cell, and they are jochated. Jochate means they are protected by one or two layers of cells. Here the male sex organ is known as antheridium. And the female sex organ is called archegonium. The female sex organ is known as archegonium. Here the antheridium, it is a rounded or spherical shape. Antheridium is rounded or spherical shape, and it is protected by or it is covered by one or two layers of cells. That's why it is known as jochated. And internally it has male gamete producing mother cell. So this is the structure of antheridium, and this antheridium has internally it has androcytes. So androcytes are haploid. They undergo mitotic cell division. They undergo mitosis to form two biflagellated antherozoids, and these antherozoids are ultimately male sex organs. So this is the antheridium. Antheridium is protected by jochate layer of cells, and internally it has androcytes or antherozoid mother cells. They are haploid. They undergo mitotic cell division to form two biflagellated antherozoids. Then archegonium. So archegonium, it is a flask shape. Archegonium is a flask shape, and it is also similarly Antheridium. It is also protected by one or two layers of cells. That's why they are multicellular and jocated. And this archegonium, it has venter. So this is venter and this is neck. And neck contain 4 to 6 or a few neck canal cells. Neck canal cells, and this venter contain so ventral cell, and this is fertilized egg. So this is it is non-fertile, it is sterile, and this is fertile. This is flask shape. The female sex organ is flask shape, that is known as archegonium, and male reproductive organ or the male sex organ is called antheridium. Antheridium finally produce antherozoids, and archegonium is a flask shape, and finally it produce egg cells. And here the biflagellated antherozoids, they should be moved towards the archegonium, because here the fertilization is internal fertilization. So for the swimming of biflagellated antherozoids, external sheet of water required. External sheet of water required for the free swimming of biflagellated antherozoids into archegonium. So these male gametes enter into archegonium. Here the male and female gametes fuse to form zygote. So the fertilization occurs inside the body of female. That's why this kind of fertilization is known as internal fertilization. So the result of fertilization, when both male and female sex organs, when both male and female gametes fused, male gamete and female gametes, they are fused to form zygote. So zygote is a diploid, because the male gamete has single set of chromosomes, and female also contains single set of chromosomes. Both are fused to form zygote. So zygote has two sets of chromosomes, hence is known as diploid, or it contains two sets of chromosomes. Then zygote, it do not undergo meiosis immediately, but in higher planes, after the formation of zygote immediately undergo meiosis to form embryo. That is the characteristic feature. But here in bryophytes, the zygote do not undergo meiosis immediately. Instead, it undergo mitotic cell division. Then zygote produce embryo. Zygote develops into, zygote is a diploid. So diploid zygote undergo mitosis to form diploid embryo. That's why bryophytes are the first embryophytes of plant kingdom. They are first embryophytes of plant kingdom. Then this embryo, it is modified into specialized structure. The diploid embryo modified into diploid structure, that is known as sporophyte. So here without gametophyte, because zygote formed on the gametophyte. The gametophyte, then gametophyte, zygote develops into embryo, embryo develops into sporophyte. So sporophyte is also diploid, but it born on gametophyte. That's why sporophyte in bryophytes, sporophyte is dependent. It dependent over gametophyte, but gametophyte is independent. Then sporophyte, the sporophyte of bryophytes, it is differentiated into three parts: capsule, foot, and seta. For example, if you observe, this is the sporophyte, then this part is known as foot, and this is known as seta, and this part is known as capsule. And inside the capsule, the sporophyte has spore mother cell. Sporophyte has spore mother cell. Now spore mother cell undergo meiosis. So meiosis is also called reductional cell division. Then it undergo meiosis. Ultimately, it produces spores, and spores are haploid. They contain only one set of chromosomes. And when the capsule is shaken by air currents, then the spores are liberated outside. They are liberated outside. When these spores, they fall on the suitable substratum, they germinate, and spores germinate and give rise to free living gametophyte. In case of liverworts, bryophytes are two types: liverworts and mosses. In case of mosses, it produces protonium. So spores, when spores fall on suitable substratum, they germinate to give rise to free living gametophyte, as in liverworts, or it produce protonema if they are mosses. Then gametophyte, sporophyte produce gametophyte. Then gametophyte is the dominant phase. Then gametophytes produce sporophyte, and this kind of alternation of generation is called heteromorphic alternation of generation. Heteromorphic. Hetero means different. So different stages are alternately rotated with each other. So this is called heteromorphic alternation of generation. So these are the some important characteristics of bryophytes. This is the sexual reproduction, method of sexual reproduction. They also reproduce vegetatively. Vegetative reproduction by means of fragmentation, or vegetative reproduction by means of fragmentation. Fragmentation, in this process the plant body breaks into one or more fragments, then each fragment develops into new individual, or in some cases it is budding, or in some cases the sexual reproduction occurs with the help of special structures. They are known as gem. So sexual reproduction, it involves formation and fusion of both male and female gametes that results into zygote. But asexual reproduction by means of fragmentation, budding and special structures, they are known as gemme. So these are some of the important characteristics of bryophytes. Then bryophytes bryophytes are usually three types. They are liverworts, next hornworts, and mosses. But according to NCERT textbook, we should learn only liverworts and mosses. So hornworts are actually they are similar to liverworts. So that's why in class 11 we will discuss about only liverworts and mosses. So first we go with liverworts. So liverworts, they are also usually found in moist conditions like banks of rivers or banks of streams, moist habitats like moist wood, etc. It means they are usually grow in moist conditions. And the body of liverworts is haploid. The entire body, what is the entire body? That is gametophyte. The gametophyte of liverworts is haploid. So the best example is Mercantia. So as in Mercantia, they are thalloid. Thallus-like plant body is present. And this thalloid plant body, the thalloid means the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf. And this thalloid plant body is closely appressed to the substratum. This thalloid is dorsiventral. Dorsiventral means dorsal side and ventral side is different in color. And the thalloid dorsiventral plant body is closely appressed to the substratum with the help of unicellular unbranched root-like structures. They are known as rhizoids. This point is very important. In liverworts, the plant body is haploid as in Mercantia. So Mercantia is the best example for liverworts. Here the plant body is thallus and dorsiventral, and it is closely appressed to the substratum with the help of unicellular unbranched rhizoids. And some members of liverworts like Porella. So Porella has leaf-like structures, and the leaves are spirally arranged on 2 rows on stem-like structure. Generally leaf-like structures are absent in liverworts, but exceptionally in Porella the leaf-like structures are present, and these leaf-like structures, they are alternately arranged on 2 rows on stem-like structure. Here asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction in liverworts, the best example is Mercantia. So this is the diagram of Mercantia. So these are the unicellular unbranched rhizoids. These are useful for the attachment to the substratum, and it has some specialized receptacles present. Then it is unisexual. So male sex organ present on one Mercantia and female sex organ present on another Mercantia. So here a special structures present. These special structures are known as, these are known as special structures. They are known as gemme, and gemme usually present in gemma cups. So this is archigoniophore. So female Mercantia, and this is antheridiophore. So antheridiophore means male. So this is male. This is female Mercantia and this is male Mercantia. Here in liverworts, asexual reproduction usually occurs by fragmentation and also special structures, and these special structures are known as gemmae. So what is gemmae? It is unicellular haploid. It is unicellular haploid, 8-shaped or biscuit-shaped specialized asexual bud, and this specialized asexual bud is known as gemmae. It is haploid, 8 or biscuit-shaped asexual bud, usually present on a special receptacles, and these special receptacles are called gemmae cups. And gemmae cups are usually present on the thallus of, usually they are present on the thallus of Mercantia or thallus of liverworts. And the matured gemmae detaches from the parent body and germinate to produce two new gametophytic plant bodies or two new thalloid plant body of liverworts. Asexual reproduction in liverworts, asexual reproduction occurs with the help of gemmae. What is gemmae? It is haploid, 8 or biscuit shaped specialized asexual bud which is present on gemma cups. They are located on thallus of liverworts or specially thallus of Mercantia. And here the sex organs, if both sex organs present on same thallus, so thallus is plant body. If both male and female sex organs present on same, then it is known as homothallic. Then homothallic is known as rixia. So rixia is also one of the example for liverwort. In rixia both male and female gametes present on same thallus. But whereas in Mercantia like this, the both female and male organs present on different thallus. Hence it is known as heterothallic. In Mercantia, both male and female sex organs present on stalked receptacles, and these stalked receptacles are called archegoniophore and antheridiophore. Archegoniophore contain archegonium, that means female sex organ, and antheridiophore contain antheridium. That means this is male reproductive organ. So it produces egg cell, it produces antherozoites, both are fused to form then external sheet of water required. They produce zygote, zygote develops into embryo, and embryo transport into sporophyte. Then sporophyte undergo meiosis to form spores, then spores germinate to give rise again gametophytic plant body. So these are the some examples are Rixia and Mercantia. These are the one more example is Sporella. So these are the best examples for liverworts, and liverworts are also considered they are the primitive bryophytes. The second class of bryophytes are they are mosses. So mosses are also called leafy bryophytes because in mosses, the plant body of mosses, so there are some examples like Funaria. The common examples are Funaria, Sphagnum, Polytrichum. So these are the some of the examples which are belongs to mosses. So this is the diagram of Funaria. So these are rhizoids and it has leaf-like structures. So leafy stage is present, and this is, so these are rhizoids, and this is foot, seta, and this is capsule. So this part is known as gametophytic stage. This is gametophytic stage, and this is sporophytic stage. Sporophytic stage. This is dominant and this is dependent. And one more example is sphagnum. A mosses, in the life cycle of mosses, it predominantly has two stages. What are the two stages? Leafy stage and second one is protonium. And the leafy stage is dominant stage, and that is nothing but gametophytic stage. And this gametophytic stage contain root-like structures. They are rhizoids, and here the rhizoids are multicellular. The rhizoids are multicellular branched, whereas in liverworts they are unicellular and unbranched. But in mosses, the rhizoids are multicellular and branched rhizoids present. They are useful in the attachment to the substratum. And this gametophytic plant body, it has leafy stage, and this leafy stage has sex organs. The leafy stage has sex organs. That means both antheridium and archegonium present on sex organ. They are present on different branches, but same plant bud or same gametophytic plant bud. So during the sexual reproduction, same. Suppose this leafy stage has both sex organs. The sex organs are, what are sex organs? Antheridium and archegonium. Antheridium produce male and archegonium produce female. Both are fused to form zygote. Then zygote develops into embryo. Then embryo converts to sporophyte. A sporophyte has capsule, foot and seta. And this capsule, the capsule of mosses is more elaborated than capsule of liverworts. And capsule has spore producing a spore liberating mechanism. And inside the capsule, spore mother cell present. Again, spore mother cell undergo meiosis to form spores. Spores germinate to give rise again gametophytic plant bud. Sexual reproduction of both liverworts, hornworts and mosses are similar. And here in mosses, asexual reproduction occurs by fragmentation and budding in secondary protonema. Protonema is of two types. So in secondary protonema, budding is present. And this leafy stage, the leafy stage of mosses, it comes from secondary protonema as a literal bud. As a literal bud. So these are the some important characteristics, and these are the some examples: Phaneria, sphagnum and polytrichum. The plant body or the life cycle of mosses has two stages: leafy stage and protonema. Protonema stage, the protonema stage is produced by spores, and then this protonema gives rise to leafy stage as literal bud. So let us discuss the life cycle of mosses. Life cycle of mosses. So in mosses, leafy gametophyte is the dominant stage, and it has sex organs. So what are the sex organs? Archegonium, this is female sex organ, and antheridium. Antheridium is male sex organ. And archegonium, it produces egg cell, it is a haploid, and antheridium produce antherozoids. So antherozoids are male gametes. So both are fused. The fusion is known as fertilization. Fusion of both male and female gametes is known as fertilization. And what is the product of fertilization? Zygote. So zygote is a diploid. Then zygote converted into embryo. So embryo, here mitosis takes place. That's why embryo is also diploid. Then embryo transferred into sporophyte. So sporophyte is also diploid. Then it has capsule. So internally capsule has spore mother cell. Spore mother cell undergo meiosis. It produces spores, and spores give rise to protonema. Then protonema, it gives a buds, and buds transferred into leafy gametophyte. And this is haploid stage, and this is diploid stage. So this is the life cycle of mosses. Let us discuss the economic importance of bryophytes. Economic importance of bryophytes. This is the economic importance. So economically, bryophytes are also very important to human beings. And usually they prevent the soil erosion. Prevention of soil erosion. Generally, bryophytes, especially mosses, they form mats over soil. It prevents the soil erosion during rainy season. And second one is formation of soil. Mosses are also helps in formation of soil. During the ecological succession. So mosses are also very important species. They helps in the formation of soil on the rocky crevices. Next, water retention. Some of the bryophytes like dry sphagnum. So dry sphagnum has great water absorbing capacity. That's why gardeners, they used sphagnum to keep moist plants and some seedlings during the transportation and propagation. So that's why this dry sphagnum is also used as absorbent cotton. That's why sphagnum is also called cotton moss. It is also known as cotton moss. Means some of the bryophytes has high water retention capacity. Then peat. This is very important. And bryophytes like sphagnum, they are usually grown acidic soils. So after their death, the dead parts of sphagnum, they are gradually compressed and fossilized. This compressed and fossilized sphagnum, they are cut into blocks, and these blocks are called peat blocks. And these peat blocks are used as fuels. Next, food. Some of the bryophytes, they are also used as food for animals like birds. Some of the bryophytes are also used as food. And one more, the decoction from polytrichum bryophytes. It is used to dissolve kidney stones. So these are some of the economically importance which gives from bryophytes. So these are some important characteristics and the different types of bryophytes.